everyone. This video is going to go over the information that is in the Topic Sentences and Supporting Evidence PowerPoint. So we've taken a look at paragraph basics and we've talked about paragraph focus. We learned when we talked about the basics of paragraphs that one of the elements that every paragraph needs is the topic sentence. We also learned how a paragraph has to stay focused around one main idea. Both of those together, the topic sentence and the focus, they're very closely related. Because in order for either to be correct, they have to work together. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is begin your paragraph with a point. Step one, begin with a point. That will eventually become your topic sentence. It might not sound great at first. You may have to go back and revise it and tweak it and make it more specific, just like you do with a thesis statement. But you have to have that sentence at the beginning that tells the reader exactly what the paragraph is going to be about. And then everything else in the paragraph should help support that point. And that's where the paragraph focus comes into play as well, because you have to make sure that all of those supporting sentences are focused on that point that you mentioned in the very first sentence. So we're going to look at a couple of examples here and talk about what the point was and if the supporting sentences stayed true to that point, or if they did not stay true to it, which caused the paragraph to be out of focus, right? So our first example on page 4, or not page, slide 4, changes in our society in recent years have weakened family life. Okay, so let's check that first sentence. Does this paragraph begin with a point? Does it have a focused topic sentence? Changes in our society in recent years have weakened family life. Okay, I'm pretty sure based on that topic sentence that this paragraph is going to talk about different changes, I don't know which ones yet, but different changes that have happened in recent years to society and how those changes have weakened family life. Okay, let's see if the rest of the paragraph backs that up. First of all, today's mothers spend much less time with their children. So that's the first change we're going to talk about. A generation or two ago, most households got by on dad's paycheck and mom stayed home. Now, many mothers work and their children attend an after-school program, stay with a neighbor, or go home to an empty house. So the first change that we're talking about is how moms spend less time with their children. And it gets into the reasons why and where the children are now that mom is also working. And how that has weakened family life. The family's not together as much anymore. Another change is that families no longer eat together. So that's the next change we're going to talk about. In the past, mom would be home to fix a full dinner. Salad, pot roast, potatoes and vegetables with homemade cake or pie to top it off. Dinner today is more likely to be takeout food or frozen dinners eaten at home or fast food eaten out with different members of the family eating at different times. So again, the family's not together, right? Finally, television has taken the place of family conversation and togetherness. Back where there were traditional meals, family members would have a chance to eat together, talk with each other, and share events of the day in a leisurely manner. But now families are more likely to be looking at the TV set than talking to one another. Most homes even have several TV sets which people watch in separate rooms. Clearly, modern life is a challenge to family life. So the paragraph starts with a point that some changes in our society in recent years have a weakened family life. And then it goes on to support that point with specific examples. Mothers working, eating habits, television, right? So, whether we agree with their argument or not is beside the point. They started with a very focused topic sentence, and they stayed true to that topic. They did not go off topic. The paragraph remained focused, and they supported their main point of the paragraph with several specific examples and specific details and explanation. So that's a pretty successful paragraph. So we have another example here on slide 5. Family togetherness is very important. Alright, so let's consider that topic sentence. We know the topic sentence is supposed to let us know exactly what the paragraph is going to be about, the specific focus of this paragraph. And this topic sentence says, family togetherness is very important. Well, that's really vague, first of all. That's not super specific. Family togetherness. What exactly do you mean by family togetherness? And then, is very important. That's such a cop-out in a way. Like, that's such a... There's so many things that it could mean. Family togetherness is very important. But, you know, we'll put that on hold for a minute, and let's at least see if the rest of the paragraph does get more specific and discusses family togetherness and why it's so important. So, family togetherness is very important. However, today's mothers spend much less time at home than their mothers did for several reasons. Well, now I'm confused, because now it makes me think that what we're really going to be talking about is why mothers are spending less time at home. Most fathers are also home much less than they used to be. In previous times, families had to work together running a farm. Now, children are left at other places or are home alone much of the time. Some families do find ways to spend more time together despite the demands of work. Another problem is that with parents gone so much of the day, nobody is at home to prepare wholesome meals for the family to eat together. The meals Grandma used to make would include pot roast and fried chicken, mashed potatoes, salad, vegetables, and delicious homemade desserts. Today's takeout foods and frozen meals can provide good nutrition. What? Some menu choices offer nothing but high-fat and high-sodium choices. Yet you just said they could provide good nutrition. People can supplement prepared foods by eating sufficient vegetables and fruit. Finally, television is also a big obstacle to togetherness. It sometimes seems that people are constantly watching TV and never talking to each other. Even when parents have friends over, it is often to watch something on TV. TV must be used wisely to achieve family togetherness. So this paragraph tried to tackle the same point with the same supporting examples that the first version did. You know, talking about changes that have happened. Mom's working, nutrition, eating habits, and television. But it's not as successful as the first version was. At first we think that the paragraph's going to explain why family togetherness is important, but it really doesn't talk about why family togetherness is important at all. That's not what the paragraph is actually about. Instead, he kind of goes all over the place. Mothers spending less time at home. Maybe this is actually the point of the paragraph. Nope, because then right after that, he starts talking about how the fathers aren't there either, about families in previous times, how they function, and then he says there are some families who do find ways to spend time together. But then he doesn't go on to explain what he means by that. And then there's the random section about food and nutrition. We understand what he's getting at because we read the first paragraph already, that, we don't eat meals together anymore, blah, blah, blah. But in this version, the whole section on eating and food seems needs to take a totally different turn, and instead of, connecting it to this idea of families not eating together, he goes off on a totally different tangent, and now it's about nutrition and healthy choices. And that's not what the whole that aspect of the topic was meant to talk about. When we're talking about, eating habits, we're talking about the family unit not eating together as much, right? And then the paragraph ends with another idea completely, that TVs must be used wisely to achieve family togetherness. And that is not what this paragraph was about either. So it's clearly not unified around a specific point. And it kind of flutters all over the place, never really landing on one specific idea. We've seen the revised version of it. That was the first version we looked at, so we know there's hope for this, there's potential for it, but when you hold the two up side by side, it's a world of difference how this second version is far below what the first version accomplished. And part of that is making sure you know what your point is. What is the point of this paragraph? And then let me do my best to make sure that every idea I use in the paragraph directly supports and relates back to that point. If I can do that, then I stand a better chance of not only making sure the paragraph is in focus, but making sure that I have a topic sentence with a focused point, right? So, another thing that the topic sentence does, besides just tell us the focused point of the paragraph, it also kind of lets us know what the writer's attitude or idea is about that topic, like what their purpose is, right? So, consider this topic sentence. My dog is extremely stubborn. So the topic of that is the dog, but notice that there are keywords that also clue us into how the writer feels about this topic. Is extremely stubborn. So it's not just that topic sentence told us what the focused point of the paragraph was, but it also let us know why the writer is writing this paragraph, why they're even bothering to tell us about their dog, because it's extremely stubborn, right? Okay. On slide 8, I want to talk about some very common errors in topic sentences. So we've said that the topic sentence needs to clearly reveal the focused point of the paragraph. One thing you do not want to do is announce the focused point. You don't want to have your first sentence be something like, my car is the concern of this paragraph, or my car is the topic of this paragraph, or if we're talking like thesis statements, the subject of this paragraph will be my apartment, or the subject of this paper will be my apartment, or I want to talk about increases in divorce rates, or now I'm going to tell you how good the customer service is at Chick-fil-A. You don't want to announce it. It needs to be a very natural and organic part of the paragraph, right? You also don't want anything that's too broad. You need focus, just like with our thesis statements. We talked about how you can go through the process of refining a thesis statement. If you think back to the PowerPoint, and there was the example of Batman and Superman, and how we went through the 4 steps to get that thesis statement as narrowed and focused as possible, you can do that with your topic sentence as well. Sometimes you need just a broad statement at the beginning of the paragraph to get yourself started. But you can come back then, and you should come back to that topic sentence and refine it as the paragraph takes shape. And when it's all said and done and you have that paragraph exactly how you want it, give that topic sentence one final tweak to make sure that it is focused on what the paragraph ended up doing. Okay, so you don't want it too broad, you don't want it too narrow, you want it just right so that it clearly encapsulates exactly what's going on in that paragraph. All right, so on slide 9, I tell you that you should think of, the topic sentence or the point like an umbrella. And all of the material in the paragraph should fit under that umbrella. So if we have a topic sentence that says ATA is a great place to go to college, that's the umbrella. Everything in the paragraph then should logically fit under the umbrella. So the reasons why I think ATA is a great place to go to college is because flexible scheduling, reasonable tuition, and career placement services. All of those examples fit under that umbrella, and that's going to lead us to the second step. Once you have your point, then you need to move into your supporting sentences. Okay? Before we look more closely at supporting sentences, though, I want to take a few slides in the PowerPoint, go over some examples of choosing the best topic sentence for a paragraph. All right? So on slide 10, we have a paragraph about Mexican folk dances. The paragraph is missing its topic sentence. So the idea is, let's read the rest of the paragraph, figure out what the focus really was, and then figure out which topic sentence would work best for this paragraph. And there's 4 options underneath. So again, this paragraph is about Mexican folk dances. Men often wear a Mexican cowboy outfit, which consists of a tight-fitting black suit with silver trim. They wear large hats called sombreros. Sometimes the men wear peasant garb, a white cotton shirt and trousers with a colorful scarf around their necks. Women dance in peasant blouses and full colorful skirts. They often have many colorful ribbons and lace sewn on the sleeves, bodices, and hems of their costumes. So, our 4 options underneath. Would it make sense to start this paragraph off with a topic sentence that says, many different steps are used in folk dancing around the world, including skips, hops, slides, and steps? You have to ask yourself, that topic sentence, the point of the paragraph would be about the different steps that are used in these folk dances. Is that what is discussed in the paragraph? No. The rest of the paragraph does not say anything about the different types of dance steps that are used. So that is not the right choice. Option B. The folk dances of Mexico have originated among indigenous tribes long before the arrival of the Spanish explorers. Well, that topic sentence would indicate that the rest of the paragraph is more explanation about where these folk dances originated from. But that is not what happens in the rest of the paragraph. The rest of the paragraph does not discuss where these dances originated from. So that is also not the right choice. Okay, so option C. Folk dances may be performed for many different occasions such as weddings, festivals, preparations for war, or celebrations of victory. So that topic sentence would indicate that the rest of the paragraph is about why the folk dances are performed. But we know that that is not what the rest of the paragraph discusses. So this is also not the right choice for a topic sentence. So we have the last option. Mexican folk dances are traditional communal dances in which the dancers wear traditional costumes. So this topic sentence would indicate that the rest of the paragraph talks more about what they wear during these Mexican folk dances. And indeed, that is what the rest of the paragraph does. So this would be the appropriate topic sentence for this paragraph. If you thought B, if you thought the second one was a good option, the one that talked about where they originated from, the reason that it might have seemed appropriate to you that that would have been the correct choice for topic sentence is because it seems to just bring up the idea of Mexican folk dances in general. You really need to push that out of your head, that a topic sentence should merely hint at a focused topic, that the topic sentence should be a more general way of introducing the idea, the point, and then the rest of the paragraph is where you get specific. The very first sentence needs to be specific. So I understand if you thought the second option might have been the better of the four, but it's really that last one because it is super specific, and we know by reading that topic sentence exactly what the rest of the paragraph is going to discuss. And it matches up. It follows through. Okay? Let's see. Second example on slide 11. This paragraph is about the New York City subway system. So again, which topic sentence fits best? The subway system is an intricate network of train lines that run underneath the city, linking all the major neighborhoods to each other. By using the subway, millions of people can get around New York City each day without adding to the traffic of the already crowded streets. Visitors to New York City find that it is a convenient way to travel around the city and see the sights. Each train can quickly move thousands of people across the city in just a few minutes at only $1.50 per ride. Imagine how bad traffic in New York City would be without the subway. Alright, so our options for the topic sentence. The subway is vital to having efficient transportation in New York City. Okay, well the paragraph does talk about the subway in New York, and it does talk about how it's able to move people quickly and not add to the traffic in the streets. So that's a good possibility. It might be that one. But let's check the others just to be sure. So the second option, there are millions of people in New York City, making efficient movement of traffic an important concern. Well, that is true, and it does touch on something that was mentioned in the paragraph. The paragraph does mention how bad the traffic is, but this sentence doesn't mention anything about the subway. And that's really what the paragraph is about. So the topic sentence has to mention the subway system in some way. So that option's not going to work. Let's look at the third one. The first subway line was opened in New York City in 1904. Okay, this option mentions the subway, but it's implying that the rest of the paragraph is going to be about the history of the subway. And that's not what the paragraph is actually about. So even though this one mentions the specific topic of the subway, it's not mentioning the specific point of the paragraph yet. So, the last option, New York City is full of great tourist sites and neighborhoods for people to visit. Well, we should know right away that that one is not the correct option, because the paragraph is not about, tourist sites and places for tourists to visit. It does mention how tourists, it does mention tourists and tourist sites, but it's about how the subway can quickly get tourists to those sites. So indeed, it is the first option that we should have picked as the topic sentence for this paragraph. Right? We have one more example on slide 12. So this paragraph is about World War II. So let's see what it's about. During the war, the Allies were in desperate need of a code that the enemy could not decipher. In order to transmit top-secret messages, the U.S. Army enlisted the help of Navajo soldiers. Natives of the American Southwest, the Navajo have a unique tongue. No other people in the world speak a language with similar sounds, grammar, or syntax. It would be impossible for any non-Navajo to know what was being said, especially German or Japanese spy. The Allies won several key battles as a result of having Navajo communications officers. The Axis spies never managed to decipher what these Navajo code talkers were saying. Alright, let's take a look at our options. The Navajo are a special people with a language unlike any other. That is part of what is discussed in the paragraph. It does definitely bring up how unique their language is. But why are we talking about how unique their language is? Because of how we, use that to our advantage during the war. This option here does not mention anything about the war, so this is probably not the right one. Alright, second option. World War II was the most destructive conflict in the history of the world. Okay, this option mentions the war, but it doesn't mention the Navajo, so this one can't work either. Okay, secret codes are a very important way for armies to keep their plans out of enemy hands. Oh, that is part of what the paragraph is about, and that's why we're talking about the Navajo. But for this to be the first sentence of the paragraph, the topic sentence, it would make it seem as though the rest of the paragraph is simply going to talk about secret codes in general. All different kinds of secret codes. But that's not what the focused point of this paragraph is. The focused point of this paragraph is how the Navajo have a unique language, and we used that language to create a code during the war, and how it helped us win. So let's take a look at the last option. Native American soldiers, Navajo, played a critical role, their language and code, in the Allied victory in World War II. So, it's actually option 4 there, the last one. That is the option that gives us the most focused point for the paragraph. It doesn't specifically say Navajo, but it says Native American. It doesn't specifically mention their language or the codes that were created, but it does say played a critical role, and that's how they played a critical role, in the Allied victory in World War II. So the three main things that this paragraph kind of, plays around with, they are referred to in that version of the topic sentence. So we would go with the last one. So one way to make sure, again, that you are creating an appropriate topic sentence is to look back at the supporting sentences that you have. But how do you get the supporting sentences in the first place? How do you decide what to put in the body of the paragraph? Just remember what the second step is. Support the point with specific evidence. Okay? We need that supporting evidence so that others can see the writer's point of view, that we can see that what they've said makes sense, that their line of reasoning is sound, right? We need the supporting evidence. You can't just make a statement and expect us to accept it. You have to give us reasons why we should accept it. Alright? So if you go back to the first paragraph that we looked at the start of this PowerPoint, the one about changes in the family, he had a point to start off the paragraph. Changes in our society in recent years have weakened family life. And he had 3 very specific main ideas in the paragraph that helped support that point. He talked about mothers, he talked about eating habits, and he talked about television. For each of those 3 points, main ideas, he had several supporting examples for each one. So when he talked about how mothers, the changes with our moms and moms working out of the home, when he talks about how that change has weakened family life, he talks about how most moms stayed at home a generation ago, how most work now, leaving the children in after-school programs or with a neighbor or an empty house. So he gave us, 2 supporting examples to go with that first main idea about moms. And then in the second main idea, it's about eating habits. He talks about how, that we formerly in the past we would have homemade meals and we would eat them together, and how now foods are prepared barely prepared at home, and if they are, they're usually like frozen. But we do a lot of fast food, and everybody eats separately. His third main idea is about how television has weakened the family life, and he gives us very specific examples of that too, how we watch TV now instead of conversing, and that we even watch in separate rooms at times. So not only did that paragraph have a very focused point, but it had 3 main ideas to help support that point, and it had numerous supporting examples to help explain each of those main points, those main ideas. That's what you need in a good paragraph. You can't just make a statement and not explain how it helps support the point of the paragraph. So we're going to look at 2 examples here and try to figure out which one has the best support. Okay? Both paragraphs are on the same topic. Which one provides the best support? So on slide 15, reasons for going to college. I decided to attend college for various reasons. One reason is self-respect. For a long time now, I've had little self-respect. I spent a lot of time doing nothing, just hanging around or getting into trouble, and eventually I began to feel bad about it. Going to college is a way to start feeling better about myself. By accomplishing things, I will improve my self-image. Another reason for going to college is that things happened in my life that made me think about a change. For one thing, I lost the part-time job I had. When I lost the job, I realized I would have to do something in life, so I thought about school. I was in a rut and needed to get out of it, but did not know how. But when something happens that is out of your control, then you have to make some kind of decision. The most important reason for college, though, is to fulfill my dream. I know I need an education, and I want to take the courses I need to reach the position that I think I can handle. Only by qualifying yourself can you get what you want. Going to college will help me fulfill this goal. These are the main reasons why I am attending college. Well, after I read this paragraph, I feel like the author said a whole lot about nothing. They make a lot of general statements, but when I finish reading it, I still don't really know why this person is going to college. It's like they almost answered the question, but not really. Especially when you compare it to the next example on slide 16, why I'm in school. There are several reasons why I'm in school. First of all, my father's attitude made me want to succeed in school. One night last year, after I had come in at 3 a.m., my father said, "Nikki, you're a bum. When I look at my son, all I see is a good-for-nothing bum." I was angry, but I know my father was right in a way. I had spent the last 2 years working at odd jobs at a pizza parlor and luncheonette, trying all kinds of drugs with my friends. That night, though, I decided I would prove my father wrong. I would go to college and be a success. Another reason I'm in college is my girlfriend's encouragement. Marie helped me fill out my application and register for courses. She even lent me $65 for textbooks. On her day off, she lets me use her car so I don't have to take the college bus. The main reason I'm in college is to fulfill a personal goal. For the first time in my life, I want to finish something. For example, I quit high school in the 11th grade. Then I enrolled in a government job training program, but I dropped out after 6 months. I tried to get a high school equivalency diploma, but I started missing classes and eventually gave up. Now I'm in a special program where I earn my high school degree by completing a series of 5 courses. I am determined to accomplish this goal and then go on and work for a degree in hotel management. I know a lot about this guy now after reading that paragraph. So let's look at some of the specific things that he did that the other guy didn't do. In the second paragraph, we get very clear, vividly detailed reasons why the writer decided to attend college. He talks about his dad's attitude and then gives us a specific example of his dad's attitude. He says his girlfriend is another reason why he's in college, and he talks about why specific moments that she's helped him, her encouragement. And then the third example for wanting to finish something, right? He gives examples about things that he has started in the past and didn't finish. So in one short paragraph, not only does he stay focused on why he went to college, but we learn a lot about him because he gave us such specific examples. In the first paragraph, we only get vague general reasons for being in school, you know. We do not get specific examples of how the writer was getting into trouble. We don't know about what events forced the decision, or if we, they say at the end of the paragraph that the main reason that they're in college is because is to fulfill their dream, and they know they need an education and want to take the courses they need to reach the position that they think they can handle. And they don't even tell us what that dream is or what that position is. We're left to still guess at the specifics. And you want to give your reader the specifics. You don't want to make them guess about them. Give them the details. Give them specifics. Alright? So the point that opens the paragraph is our topic sentence. It is a very detailed, laser-focused revelation about the point of the paragraph. The evidence that supports the point is made up of specific details, reasons, examples, facts, and there are 2 key functions of specific details. You need them to excite the reader, to keep their attention, and you need them to explain and convey your train of thought clearly and effectively. Sorry. So you want to think about which details are most specific and which ones are too general. And we have some examples here, starting on slide 19. So the point that we're thinking about right now is, my cat is extremely bright. So here's one way that I could support that idea, that point. He knows how to solve problems. He also recognizes people he knows. Or I could say, my cat is extremely bright, and follow it up with, when he gets lost in the basement, he simply grasps the door latch, pulls down on it, and opens the door. He also distinguishes between family members and strangers. When a classmate of mine came by last week, my cat jumped on my lap and rubbed himself against my face, but he refused to go near our guest. Clearly, it's the second set of evidence that is more specific. It gives us much more interesting and effective details to help explain why she thinks her cat is so smart. Alright, and you can go through some of the other examples that I've listed there in the next couple slides. But just remember that you need specific evidence, you need enough of it. It all needs to relate to the main focus, the main point of the paragraph. And sometimes you have to write the paragraph first before you can make sure that that first topic sentence truly is focused, right? So don't forget about them. Write what you need to write in the beginning so that you can keep going. It's not easy to think of the perfect topic sentence right there in the moment. Get something down though, write the paragraph, work on the examples and the support for the paragraph, and then tweak the topic sentence so that it truly fits the overall point of the paragraph. Remember the common errors. You don't want to announce your topic sentence. You don't want it to be too broad. You don't want it to be too narrow. You need specific, adequate evidence. And you need cohesion within the paragraph, tying your thoughts together. And that will lead us into the next lesson on paragraph coherence. But if you have any questions about topic sentences or supporting evidence, the support sentences, please let me know. Otherwise, you can move on to paragraph coherence.